Hello, everyone. We have made it to episode 3. And this is where we get into like the meat and potatoes of this season. And today's episode focuses on emotional intelligence within romantic relationships. So we're going to be looking at emotional intelligence within different arenas. And so today's one is focused on romantic relationships. I'm Dee.
I'm Donna Marie.
And let's go ahead. So today's conversation is where we get into which could be like a little touchy of a topic. So again, keep it cute in the announcements. I mean, in the comments down below. But we want to establish that this is, let's say, space. So this is a space where you can go ahead and talk about your emotional intelligence or any relationships that you may have had throughout this. If there's a particular person Don and I are talking about, we're obviously not going to use that person's real name. If you know us in our real lives, you'll probably know who it is. But if you don't, they didn't agree to do this where their business is in the streets. So I know for me personally, I'm not going to use anyone's real names. And then when I talk about Donna's people, I will also use code names now. If Donna chooses to use real names, that's up to her, but I personally am not. So is there anything you want to say to kind of set the tone for this conversation?
No, I think you touched on everything. I also probably will not be using real names, mainly because I don't know if it's the petty in me or the maturity in me. It could be both. But
You're like, I'm mature,
uh,
but I'm also petty.
right. Um you ain't getting no how the rap girlie said, you ain't get no clout off me, you ain't getting no attention from me, you ain't getting, none of that, right? Like, yeah.
Although
Mm.
that dynamic may have been a learning experience, your name will not be mentioned. You don't deserve it. I'm not giving you that energy. So, what are our intentions? So, go ahead and tell me what your intentions are for this episode.
Um, Probably for me, because dealing with certain relationships, certain people, um, I would like to, or my intention is to be able to get through this topic and any stories that may come up um, without crying.
Mm.
Get through this without, um, in so many words, right, stooping to someone else's level. Because you know me, I've definitely been on like a healing journey and
Mhm.
been on a path of, although someone has done me wrong, I want to make sure that like the way I carry myself is far better than what anyone else has done for me. What is wrong with this camera? Um and so I don't know what I'm trying, like how exactly I'm trying to say it, but you know how like when you're telling a story, right? And because of like the trauma or because of like whatever negative emotions comes with it, you tend to like how do I say it? Like
Is
you
it like you
bec
tend to play the like you tend to put more blame on the other person without seeing it at like full on what it was and how it was and how it played out and how it helped and hurt?
there's a little bit of that, but it's more so of like more so of the actions. Like you become just as nasty as that person, and I don't want to be that,
Mhm.
right? I want to
Amen.
look at things as a learning experience, right? I want to,
Right.
you know, see what I could have gotten out of this versus like what was done to me, right? What is the saying? It's like this was done for me, not to me. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how I want to go into it. Because I've, done enough over the years of being like, why me, right? And I think it's time
Mm-hmm.
to move past that and figure out like what's next. And so I think those would be my intentions. If that makes sense.
That makes
I,
sense. That makes sense.
I know it's a
Yeah.
lot, but
No, 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 that makes sense. I think mine is kind of similar, but like for me, in my old age, I was literally meditating prior to this because I went into my shadow workbook finally, but I was meditating and had a community of my ancestors with me. And for the past few months, they've been giving me this message, and they reinforced it today, where they were like, you can only fail up. So take all the risks, take all the chances. And there's something so comforting about knowing that I'm protected in a way that I can only fail up. And I say that in this moment because one of the things that I still talk about in therapy, whenever my therapist asks me what I'm looking for in a partner, I always say someone I can feel emotionally safe with. Right. And so throughout this
Always.
conversation, I want to highlight the ways in which either I had a partner who made me feel emotionally safe or did not make me feel emotionally safe because it goes with the topic. But I want to make sure that I have the open heart, open mind, the foresight, the hindsight in order to see things clearly for what they were. I know that a lot of times I
That
typically, go
that
ahead.
like that was a very concise. So this is why I love our conversations also because you take like the 20 words I used and make it into like 3 words. So I'm like, that's what it was. That's what
Okay,
I
so
was trying
yeah,
to say.
yeah, yeah, because I know that sometimes, not that I struggle to see things for what they were. I definitely see that, but I know a lot of times I excuse behaviors that should have never occurred. And so in this conversation, I want to call a spade, as Black people say, in order to have an authentic conversation about emotional intelligence and to look at the different dynamics in which I participated in romantically, where even I did not have the emotional intelligence for some things, but also where my partners didn't have the emotional intelligence for some things. And so looking at how I've grown from those and how I've learned from those. So yes, those are my intentions going into this.
Okay, I'm loving this. I'm loving this. I'm ready. Let's get into it.
All right, let's do it. What do you consider emotional intelligence is in a partnership? And what do you think is like the foundation of knowing for sure if you have an emotionally safe relationship?
Um, Emotional intelligence for me is the ability to communicate in no matter the emotion, no matter the setting, no matter the situation, no matter the possible outcome, right? Being able to communicate what it is you need in that moment. And that doesn't, and when I say communicate, because I know some people are going to be like, well, if I'm mad and I don't feel like talking, then you can't, make me talk. And it's like, but that is emotional intelligence. That's the ability to say, hey, I don't feel like talking about this right now. Can we talk about it later? I'm not in a space
Mm-hmm.
to talk about this right now. Can we talk about it later? And so,
Mm-hmm.
to me, that is emotional
Mm-hmm.
intelligence. And for a long time, I had to understand that I had to get to that point because I thought I was like you. I thought I was, um, emotionally available, or I thought that I didn't need to work in the emotional realm. Um, but I did, especially when it came to my anger, when it came to my hurt, when it came to my sadness, like all of those other emotions that weren't happiness, joy, love, stuff like that. Ooh, so sorry. Um, when it came to the quote unquote bad feelings, right? Like it it was something that I had to learn to communicate in and through. And
Mm-hmm.
to say, I can't talk about what it is that hurts right now. Can we talk about this later? believe it or not, was a lot harder than I thought it would be. Because when someone presented that option to me, I was like, oh yeah, I can do that. That shouldn't be an issue. But when it's the
Mm-hmm.
person that pisses you off, when it's the person that hurt you, when it's the person you don't want to talk to, even those few words, you can't muster to say right now. And so it was a very uh steep hill for me to get up. I will say that. It took me a while for the first part to even understand. Um, I was not where I wanted to be emotionally. And that also hurt because I was like, you prided yourself on being so much better and so much more than your family and where they were and what they used to do. And it's like, but you're not. And
Mm-hmm.
then I was like learning about trauma and how that shapes us. And then learning how when you try so hard not to be someone or be something, or when you hate something so much, you end up being that, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
um that's when I was like, okay, so how do I get out of the hate of this? And I started realizing like, well, one, you can't hate everything you don't like. It's okay to say you don't like something, but
Without hating it.
yeah, hate is
Mhm.
it is a strong emotion and
It is.
it clouds the judgment.
And it
Um,
takes up so much energy.
oh my God, does it? Oh my God. In some cases, it might be better to let go. Like I know I'm a person who's like, I don't let go easily. I don't forgive easily. But I do be weighing my options of like, would it just be better to let this go right now? Because I don't know. I don't know. But I said all that. So sorry. And forgot the second part to your question. Hello?
Yeah, you're like, for some reason, you're freezing. There you go. Now you're
So are
back.
you.
Okay, you're good now.
I don't know if you heard me, but I was like, I said all that and did not. What the? Mm.
I watched that happen too, Donna.
Said all that and completely forgot the second part of your question.
And what do you think are the foundations for creating, like for emotional intelligence within a relationship?
Um,
So you said the ability to be able to talk it out or communicate.
yes.
Hmm.
Both parties being willing to admit and being okay with being wrong. Or I
Hmm.
should say both parties, because that is so heteronormative.
Exactly,
All
Donna.
parties.
Well, I'm polyamorous, so
All parties
all parties involved.
involved being willing and okay with being wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Something else I had an issue with. And not that like I had a problem with being wrong. I just never thought I was as wrong as I actually was, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um uh so there's like the ability to communicate, um, being willing to admit fault and being okay with, you know, being at fault.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know there's a big one that I'm missing. Uh, and it's like you think someone who has gone through these changes would know that, but like I can't.
Well,
Uh,
you want me to say mine, and then if yours pop up, you just interject.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, we
Go
can do
ahead.
that. We can do that. So, similar to you, I saw the way my parents communicated in their relationship, and I knew that wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't healthy. So, like my parents, they yelled a lot. I'm not a yeller. I shut down whenever people yell at me. Um, and so like in the early in their early relationship, it was the three of us in a trailer, single wide trailer. So I heard everything, right? And then in that process, they would come and talk to me afterward, and I'm a child. Why are you talking to me? And like now I'm like the third person, you know what I mean? Like, and I was like, I don't want this. To me, this isn't emotional intelligence. This isn't what I want in a relationship. And so it's hard to try to understand what emotional intelligence looks like if you've never seen it before play out. But again, this is a moment where I'm very grateful that like my parents always allowed me to date. And I know that probably sounds weird to some people, but in that process, when you're dating people in different personalities, you learn a lot about yourself.
Mhm.
And so I learned a lot about how to communicate, what I think healthy looked like. In each relationship, it was something different. But one of the things that I learned is that because I grew up in a space where boundaries weren't discussed, I was in relationships allowing people to treat me ways in which I didn't like, but also at the same time, I didn't know how to set those boundaries. And looking back, I can't necessarily be upset that someone treated me in a way I didn't like if I didn't know how to express my wants, needs, all of that. So
Mhm.
even within my marriage, it was the same situation where my former partner would get angry, would throw things, would yell, would call me outside of my name. And anytime that happens, I would just shut down and I would be like, well, there's no point in trying to have a conversation. And so I realized that I didn't understand how to make my voice known in this space in a way
Excuse me.
that was productive until I chose a partner who also knew how to make their voices known in a way that was productive. So me telling someone how I feel doesn't matter if that person doesn't care, if that person isn't going to listen, if that person is just going to yell at you. And so
Mhm.
through years of those kind of relationships, it was very hard. I did have so like my high school sweetheart was someone who I think I could have had that dynamic with because they had healthy parenting at home. Um, but I don't think I was in a space at that time where I truly understood and like not took advantage of, but like use that opportunity to grow in that dynamic because I was young and I was, we were going in two different paths. So having healthy conversation wasn't really a thing. It wasn't until I got into therapy and I looked at things like the emotion wheel, where it's like, okay, so this is the emotion you're feeling, but that emotion comes from a group of other emotions. And so like you said, like, okay, what else besides hate? Hate comes with betrayal, comes with distrust, comes with so it was like all these other emotions leading to the one that you were feeling and expressing in that moment. And that was a game changer for me because there are certain emotions I don't fully understand. So like for instance, I don't understand jealousy. And I'm not trying to be dramatic. I'm serious. I don't understand like being polyamorous and if you're jealous of your partner's other partner. I don't understand that because I'm like, both y'all both get the person. Like it's not logical to me to be jealous. And it's like, but it's not a competition. Like to me, that's not logical. But whenever I'm dating someone who does feel jealous of perhaps another relationship that I have to now find ways in order to accommodate that feeling to say, I hear you, even if I don't understand it, how can I help? And even though that's something that that person individually has to work through, it is still my job to be a partner who's there for them and gives them a space to talk, gives them a space to like tell me their feelings so that we can have that understanding of like, okay, what is that triggered that? So maybe we can work through that together, or we understand where you need to do this work as an individual. So going forward, whenever you have that, just be like, babe, this is what's happening. So for me, it wasn't only communicating, but it's also that action that goes into it. And I was in a relationship with someone recently that you and I both know, and we communicated very well verbally. But after that verbal communication, there was no action. And that's
Mm.
when I realized I need more than just, we can talk about it all day, but if nothing changes, what was the point?
Mhm.
And that's something that I definitely realized. So, and my asking, because I believe in manifestations, and so me asking for a partner, um, I asked for a partner who can communicate well. but I wasn't specific in what that communication looked like. So not just talking, but also executing what we discussed. So that, this isn't a problem that keeps happening over and over again because you're not actually doing the thing in which we
Mhm.
said that we were going to do. And I'm someone, and I don't know if it's the autism, but I'm someone that when I set out, like, this is the plan we're doing, I stick to the plan. And I've lost a lot of friendships because they're like, D, like, we're not doing the plan no more. I'm like, but we said we're doing the plan. I'm executing the plan. And it's all about, like, for me, whenever we say we're going to do something, emotionally, I am invested in that future in which we've created together. And if there's a reason you can't do that, let's have a conversation about it. And then let's find a way to execute something we both agreed on. And I think that comes with emotional intelligence, me telling someone, like, hey, I understand that as my partner, you feel this way. But I also understand as an individual, I feel this way. Where are we going to go from here? And then setting up the parameters. There's no calling each other outside of our names. There's no yelling because I will break down and just stonewall you. You won't get in. You won't, you know what I mean? Like there's like creating that safety within a relationship to figure out what does healthy communication look like. And for me, that was a huge thing. So not just understanding your own emotions, but how do we communicate that in a way that everyone in a relationship feels safe? But the emotion wheel was definitely one of those moments where it's like, yes, I feel this way, but why? And then you look at all the other emotions, and then that's when you really start doing like that shadow work, as we talk about, where you're trying to figure out, did this trigger something from my childhood? And I was unaware that trigger was there. If that's the case, now I got to talk about it with my partner because they deserve to know. You know what I mean? This
Mhm.
relationship was going well, but then this one trigger blew everything up. Why? Why did this hit so hard? So like things like that where it's just like we don't know each other's childhood trauma. So it'll be the most random because like one partner I had, we were talking about it was my first birthday being with them, and they do birthday parties pretty huge. And someone else in our friend group had planned a birthday party, and I was like, oh, I want that person to plan my birthday party. And my partner at the time lost it on me. They were like, you don't effing believe I can plan your birthday party. That's an insult. And I was like, oh my God, what is happening? I don't understand what's going on. And it was a trigger for them not being trusted. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that's what we were doing here. You know what I mean? So I feel like in a romantic relationship, you should have that, be able to be vulnerable with that person. And I know for guys, that can be difficult because a lot of times they're not taught that that vulnerability is okay.
No, unfortunately. Which is the craziest thing. Like I can't read minds. But yes, to piggyback off yours.
I did not get that upgrade.
Piggybacking off of yours, yes, I do believe having a safe space also is a foundation for, excuse me, emotional intelligence, especially when I've literally had someone tell me to let go of my childhood trauma. um
If it was that easy, we'd
eh,
all be letting go.
and I'm like, you still come at me for shit that happened 10 years ago when we were whole ass young adults, but
hmm
I gotta let go of something that happened to me for as long as I can remember. Again, like I've been saying, I've been introduced to trauma since I was a baby.
hmm
Like I I remember like vividly. Like I don't know how many people can remember shit from when they're 4 and 5 years old,
I
right? But
can't.
like
hmm
I remember watching certain things as a young girl and seeing like just being in environments that I shouldn't have been in, right? And
hmm
that it doesn't stop there, right? Like I have had to deal with just a number of things. And eventually I'll get comfortable enough, of course, talking about it on camera. Like I've talked to you about this like off camera.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
um yeah, it's like this isn't shit you just get over. I don't care how old I get. Um like I'm trying to better process it, but do I
Hmm.
think it will ever leave me and I will get over it? No, because there are just things that have happened that again just shouldn't have happened.
Hmm. And
Um,
I think, oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think that is something that people don't realize because it's not like as you get older, trauma ceases to exist. Like you actually occur, like more trauma occurs as you get older. So
Mm-hmm.
like, and then on top of that, if you've never seen healthy relationships or emotionally healthy spaces, how do you know how to cultivate one between you and a romantic partner? I
Right.
remember, so like one of the things, and this is why I have scissors in my bed now. I remember my aunt used to be in a relationship with this very abusive guy, and he used to hit her. And I was my aunt's shadow while my mom was in the military. And one day I got too close to the iron, and he was worried about the iron hitting me. So he hit me. And my aunt stabbed him in the back with scissors. And I remember seeing the scissors like literally pouring blood out of his back. And we ran out of the trailer, got in a car in the middle of the night, and I'm from the country. Like there are no lights between Chiefland and Otter Creek the back way. And we fled to Otter Creek. And I remember us going to my grandparents' house, and there were no cell phones back then. So we ran into the house. My aunt said everything in record time. My grandfather, my brother, my uncle got guns, and the guy was chasing us down the road the whole time, trying to like run us off the road. So like when we got there, he pulled up in the driveway, and the men in the family answered the door and said, "If you come any closer, we will shoot you shot. We will shoot you graveyard dead, and no one will ever find your body." So like growing up, my whole thing was, oh, he doesn't put hands on me. He's not abusive. But understanding verbal abuse, emotional abuse
Emotional abuse.
were
Yep.
never conversations. So I remember with my former spouse, I had can't well, of course I had cancer, but there were so many times, so many red flags in cancer and in grief where I should have been like, oh, this isn't healthy. So like one time during cancer, I was talking about like how much things were hurting. And he was like, but you get to go and eat every day after chemo. But I can't taste the food. And he was like, I don't understand why y'all aren't bringing me food back.
What is wrong with people? Like, I don't understand that because someone, so remember I was just saying like the person used to be like, I need to like let my trauma go and everything like that. Like
Hmm.
they'd legit compare my situation to like some of the worst shit that can happen to people. And
Hmm.
while I am, yes, grateful that I have a roof over my head, grateful that I have a job, grateful that I can put food, the bare minimum in my damn, kitchen, right? Like, or in my
Hmm.
household. Like, it does not stop the fact that I still don't make enough to
Hmm.
live, okay? Like
Hmm.
I'm barely surviving, living like my parents used to do, check to check, and that was never a
Hmm.
life I saw for myself. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I remember this person like the one of the like what was it? I don't know the term I'm trying to use, but like, I guess like one of the lowest things a person could do, right? Like I was, saying like, yeah, I'm okay. Like I'm just, a little depressed today, like just thinking about my life and everything. And like, oh, what's going on? And, I was telling them like, yeah, like I'm just a poor black woman in America, right? Like I don't make enough. I really want a different job. Like I want so many things and just like it's not happening right now, right? And this person literally sends me a gift of a I think it was like a homeless person sleeping on like a cardboard or something like that, and was like, there are people who have it much worse than you or something like that. And I was like, so like
Right.
I I get that there are situations worse than mine. Like the same could be said for you. Like
Mm-hmm.
I didn't tell you to go out there and
Mm-hmm.
make the fucking decisions that you made in life. And yet you made them and you
Mm-hmm.
still choose to complain about
Mm-hmm.
them. But guess what? You don't live in a third
Mm-hmm.
world country. You don't live in a country that has dirty
Right.
water. You don't live in a country that every chance it gets, just because you look at an officer wrong, they can just toss your ass in jail. Like,
Mm-hmm.
hello? The
Yeah.
same could be said to you,
Yeah.
but you feel it's okay for you to voice
And I
your
think that was,
concerns.
but not me to voice mine. Yeah.
Right.
And I think that was one of the things that I didn't realize was like emotional abuse. And then even when so like um I don't know if people know, but like whenever you have cancer, you have to go back every so often get scans. And my scans, they always look like they're dirty, but like my doctor's like, oh, you're fine. But like something will be off on either the labs or the blood work because of where my tumor was. And I expressed this to my partner. I was like, I'm really nervous, blah, blah, blah. And they looked me in my face, looked me in my whole face, this one right here. And they said, I don't know what's going on with you. You're the strong one, so you really need to pull this together. And I was like, okay.
So I don't
So
have
it's
a
just
right to
like
be
moments like
vulnerable?
that where I'm like, yeah. So like that's what I'm saying. Like that's not a safe space to be vulnerable. Clearly.
Oh,
And then I was like, oh,
God.
okay. And so I just kind of like it was in those moments where I was like, this isn't the right space for me. But I was someone who grew up with like, oh, he's not putting his hands on you. You're fine. Make it work. And so that's what I'm saying. Like when it came to emotional intelligence, if I would have been more emotionally equipped, if I would have been more able to communicate my needs, I'm not sure if that person would have done it, but I can't make that person read my mind in that moment where I'm just like, what the French toast you just said, bro? The shock is on my face, but I never expressed like that was wholly inappropriate. Now,
Right.
I feel like most people would understand that's wholly inappropriate. But again, that's me making an assumption. Everyone comes from different backgrounds, everyone has different, levels of emotional intelligence.
For
And I typically
me,
date neurodivergent people as well because I'm neurodivergent.
mm,
So I don't know if that person understood, you know what I mean? Like, had the emotional capacity for understanding my position without me saying it.
mm. And I think for me,
You're about to say something.
if I know at first, right, like I didn't understand that what I was going through was emotional abuse,
Same,
or verbal and
same.
emotional abuse. Like I knew what those were. I just didn't know if mine would classify as it because I thought certain types of like only things being said a certain way were that, right?
Same. Yeah.
Like I thought it was one of those things that was just like very apparent, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't see mine as being that. And then I also used to gaslight myself, and be like,
Girl.
and it's and if it is like, do you really want to be that person who, just left somebody when they needed you the most? And like, this person may, continuously lose people and,
Mm-hmm.
try and be there for this person. And then it was like, I
Mm-hmm.
had to fucking realize, like, when are you going to be there for you and when are they going to be there for you? You are there for
Mm-hmm.
everybody else. When are
Mm-hmm.
you going to be there for you?
And I also think that goes back to the conversations of us not seeing healthy relationships in our like growing up. And then even those same people have huge holes in their healthiness or in their relationships where they try to be like, oh, well, you can just deal with that, right? Like you can just make it through. There's some things we're not supposed to be just trying to make it through. Because I so like during whenever the divorce, my former spouse asked for a divorce, I remember two incidents. One, I was doing an Airbnb in Orlando because I still lived in Palm Coast. So like
Mhm.
during the week, I would stay in Orlando to teach. And I was at this lady's. This is the last time I was there, and she was like, "Maybe you should just stay with your spouse, do whatever you can to make it work because you never really had to earn money for yourself. I am literally staying with you because I work a job here."
And even if I
And she was
did,
like,
that means I have to stay in a space I don't want to. I'm young enough to
"Yes,"
learn.
and right. I was just like, this is the advice another divorced woman is giving to and then I remember someone very near and dear to me coming over and being like, when you were in the hospital, you had cancer. This person is having a mental breakdown. You should stay with them through this process. Why would you want me to stay there if you think this person is having a mental break? Because what if they harm me?
But not even just
You know,
that.
so
When I was going through cancer, this person wasn't being there for me. Like, yeah, they were physically there, but emotionally and
and
spiritually,
that's
they were not
but do you see how the
there.
guilt is? Like, oh, this person was physically there for me. I owe this person my time. And so I feel like with a lot of relationships, people stay because there's this guilt and not because it's a safe space, but there's
That's
this
true.
guilt of like,
Yeah, that's what I did.
I gotta stay because XYZ, or I don't want to let them down, or yeah, maybe sometimes they're not a full partner or they're not listening completely, but again, they have good qualities. It's like, but if your partner is an emotionally intelligent and y'all aren't communicating in a way that's healthy, what example are you setting for the people around you who are looking up? Even if you don't have kids, they're still younger nephews, nieces, siblings who are looking to you like, oh, that's what a relationship looks like. And then you yourself not being happy. How are you navigating the rest of the world, or the rest of your life, if your
Mhm.
relationship is trash? You know what I mean? So like that's a huge part of the conversation people aren't talking about. Like your relationship is the foundation of how you navigate a lot of your life. Those are all, you know what I mean? And so like as I went through therapy, which shout out to my therapist, Nakisha, 4 years, almost 5 years in, I was able to, because I think as women, a lot of times, especially in the South, we're almost like taught to be, I don't want to say like a servant, but definitely a servant to our partner, where we're taught to put our needs behind. And Nikisha, my therapist, make sure that she's like, okay, but did you get what you needed? And I was like, no. So why are you still doing it? And like even now when I'm dating people, she'll be like, girl, let's bring it back. I heard everything you said. Let's circle back. Emotionally, are you safe in this relationship? What does emotional safety look like to you now? Because as we get older, it changes,
Mhm.
right? And just answering those questions, I'm like, dang. Now that you know, can you talk to your partner about that? Can you ask for those things? Will those things be given? And I'm like, let me ask. You know what I mean? But like growing up, we didn't even know to ask these questions. I think that's
That's
huge.
true. It
Yeah.
is. And then I think about that, like, and it's funny because I was trying to figure out a way how to like go back to this because completely forgot about it, right? And I was like, dang, maybe we'll
I'm
talk
with
about it
you.
like at the end. Where you brought up earlier, you were like, uh you couldn't get mad at yourself because you didn't have any examples emotional intelligence with your
Hmm.
parents. And so like to bring it back to what it is now, where you're like, um, damn, the quote you just said already slipped my mind. But yeah, it reminds me of how like people love to, blame specifically women. I don't know why it's just, black women, but black women and not necessarily the black men in our community either, but um for not having these examples of real love or of
Hmm.
healthy love or emotional
Hmm.
intelligence or respect for oneself or morals and standards and things like that, right? We get blamed for it. While when it comes to
All the
black
time.
men, their parents are blamed for it, and specifically their mom is blamed for it.
Oh, she
Um,
was a single mom. She didn't XYZ. Your mom was still a victim, bro.
and so it's like, how are we blamed for that? How are we blamed for something we had no control in, but also the problem for why it's happening to us?
Hmm.
Um, and um, it's another one of those conversations that we need to talk about, or another one of those conversations we need to have because you can't you can't expect someone to know what they don't know.
Exactly.
Like
That
if
part.
if all I ever saw growing up my entire life was, my dad mistreating women and my dad jumping from bed to bed to bed,
Hmm.
to me, that's normal behavior. Now,
Mm.
granted, I never wanted that because I was like, I do want to, settle down and be in a relationship because I did see um, like certain aunts and uncles who were in relationships. But then I'd
Hmm.
also see those people in relationships constantly arguing or someone not
Mm.
having a backbone. And I was like, damn, so you in technically a relationship with the same person for like 10 plus years,
Hmm. But you
but
still
do
by yourself.
you,
You still lonely in this relationship.
right, like, do y'all even
Hmm.
like each other? Like,
No.
and so I was like, I don't know if I want this, but I also couldn't shake that feeling of like all I've ever wanted was to be with a black man. It
Hmm.
That's just something I've always wanted. And who knows, maybe it'll change one day. Maybe it'll change. I don't know. Maybe the healed version of me is
Donnie, you already
like,
know what I think.
I
You already
know.
know my opinion.
I know. Maybe the
Which you
healed
in
version of
particular.
me is like, girl, you'll get over that one day. Just wait, just wait. But right now, I do still believe in like, um, loving a black man. And now that's not to
Hmm.
say anything about anyone who, doesn't want to be in like same race relationships, right? Like if you want to date people of other races, like that is your right, right? Like
I agree. Yeah.
everyone can do what they want to do. Um, it's just for me, I don't know. I've just
Hmm.
always seen myself with a black man.
And
Always.
it's so funny because like I never cared about the race of the person because I do have so many family members, different races.
Hmm.
But my longest, most successful relationships are always with black men.
Hmm.
And I remember I was talking to this guy. You're gonna know this guy once I say this thing. And he was like, "Do you find that the demographic of men you want aren't attracted to you?" I was like, "No." A whole black man, by the way, a whole black man. And I was
Mind you, the
like,
same black man
"No."
that was attracted to you, but okay. I digress.
Right. And I was so confused by that question. Like, I'm still kind of confused. Like, what do you mean? Do I find that the demographic of people I'm attracted to aren't attracted to me? That question baffled me. But I also know, being a fat Black woman, that a lot of people are often surprised that I get quality partners. And so, like, I think the reason I find pretty decent partners, and when I say quality partners, I mean partners who we have a relationship, we break up, we're still able to talk and hang out and have fun. The person I met you through was a
Mhm.
partner who I dated, and we still hang out, have fun, go on vacation together. Quality person. And it's simply because I'm at a stage in my life, again, 37, we about to be 40, where hopefully I'm not
We
attracting
about to
someone
be
who is just,
40.
I know, I'll be 38, girl, in less than a month. But like, hopefully I'm at a stage in my life where I'm not attracting shallow. Like, I feel like I did that, well, when I was younger. And the way my body is set up, like, if I'm attracting someone, they're not just like, oh, she has the ideal beauty standard of body right now. And there's a lot of freedom in that when it comes to relationships, where I don't have to fear that the person I'm with is only with me because I am some sort of physical manifestation of what is in right now.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't understand the joy in that, because, people always want to be the standard of beauty. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, there's so much freedom in that, because you actually meet people who are emotionally sound and who know how to step to you correctly. Because if not, there's an energy you give off where they just don't step to you at all. And I love
Right.
that. Don't waste either of our times. We're too old to be wasting time.
Right.
But I have found that currently the younger men are presenting as more emotionally intelligent than the older men. And that's
I haven't
been,
found either of that, so
Donna's like, none of the men are
mm,
presenting
no,
emotionally
I'm
intelligent.
and it could be me, right? Like that's why I said I took these last couple of years to just focus on me because I uh, I've tried them young, I've tried them old, well not old.
Old is my thing. I typically used to like my guys 60 and up. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Nah, I don't
Um,
think I've ever I think the oldest I went was like, and this was when I was much younger, right? Like dude was like 10 years older than me. But
oh no, I
uh
typically like older.
nah, yeah, I can't do that. Like he gotta be fine, fine. And I'm talking about like what is our equivalent of it? Because there's like I think silver fox for the white man, right? And
I
then
mean, we
there's
still
like
rock a silver thought.
but for black
We
men
still use
also?
that.
Because isn't
Yeah.
it? I thought it was a different term for them.
Oh, if it is, I have not heard of another term. I still rock with
Oh,
silver fox.
but needless to say, baby, they gotta be damn fine, okay, for
See,
me to
with
be
me, it's
like,
definitely a personality. I'm looking for a
uh,
man who's confident, who's
okay.
secure.
See, but you know me, I am shallow and vain. Okay, well, listen.
Not just saying I am shallow and vain.
While I would love to sit here and not necessarily a lot of folks, but I would love to be like, no, I don't care about those things. I care about those things. I do. Looks matter to me. Absolutely.
To me, I'm more like personality, hygiene, purpose.
Oh, that
Like,
too. That's
like
that's
those
in
are,
addition. But I have to be able to look at you too. If I
that's
can't
true.
look at you, I don't even want to be next to you and smell you. Like
Oh,
it's
wow.
it's
I mean, but
it's
Donna, like, I don't think I'm like the people I'm dating are like hideous to look at. But I also
no,
like
no.
people who are non-traditionally attractive. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is about someone who like has a feature that doesn't like fit. Like it's like a nose that is too big for their face, or a scar. Like I like people who are non-traditionally attractive, and this has nothing to do with emotional intelligence, but It's just my jam.
It has to do with romantic relationships though.
It does. It really does.
But
And about
no,
feeling
because
safe in a
like,
relationship. Yeah.
but for me, I don't think I like conventionally attractive people either. Um, because the way I and I don't know if this is going to make me sound like racist or anything, right?
Oh Lord. Okay, I'm
But
listening.
when it comes to my black man, right? Like I love for them to have a very like strong
Like features.
probably motherland, yeah, features. Like the
Yes.
thing that people
As I'm
would
dating somebody from the whole
consider
motherland, girl, me too.
right. So like people that would like deem us as looking like monkeys and shit, like the way the nose is, I'd be like, damn, that shit
I
look
like a
good.
good sculpted feature.
Uh, like the dude, I don't know his name, but growing up, I was so attracted to
Was
this
it Diamond
man.
Hunter?
I think that is his name, actually, the tall, dark-skinned man
He used
who
to be married to Morley Simmons.
oh, I don't know who is married to. Child. I don't know these folks life like that.
Oh, I
Um
forgot. You don't even, yeah. But
yeah,
yeah,
I'll
that's who
be
it is.
it. I just remember him being in Push. That was the first time I saw him.
Girl, yeah, that's him. That's him.
And I was
Because
like,
he started in Janet Jackson in a Janet Jackson music video.
somebody did show me that. Yes. I was
Hmm,
like, not
hmm.
this man acting since before I was born. Well, I don't know if it was before I was born, but like I was definitely young.
You know, he was discovered homeless, but then he had the audacity to say that education is a joke. And you know, whenever people say that, it's an immediate turn off for me.
And and that's another thing, right? Like I'm so sick and tired of like finding the ignorance within our community. Okay, like just
But I also think that, you know, like emotional intelligence, if someone has never grown up seeing something happen,
mm,
there's a attitude towards, oh, that's unnecessary. Sir, you dropped out of high school. You're not being able to survive. You're asking people for money, but it's unnecessary for college. And I understand that everyone needs to go to college, but everyone does need to find a skill that requires training. That's still education. But you're gonna say that what I'm doing is a waste of my time. Yeah, I went to college and I also use my degree because I literally teach college. But for you to be like, oh, like college is stupid. It's a waste of time. So what are you doing with your life? Let's have a conversation about it. You know, so it's like stuff like that where it's like, or like, let's say this person did do something great with their lives. And they're like, you know, see, I didn't even have to go to school. But all the people who helped you along the way went to college. Your accountant, your lawyer, your agent.
and I think they forget that, right? Like they forget that the many people we use on a daily basis went to college.
Mm-hmm. Because if they
The
didn't, why would you be trusting them? What are they doing? Like, you don't know that this person is qualified. So,
like that
but like I
healthcare you
said,
keep going to, they had to
that
go to
doctor, oh,
school
he
for
went to college.
that.
Hopefully, you better hope he or she did. If not, you're gonna get concrete parts put in your body.
I
It is
remember I
not in
used to
well.
hear that doctors were like cheating on like their board certifications and stuff. And I was like,
Hmm.
how? How are they cheating?
I can tell you how, but I mean, hopefully they're not. But I can tell you how.
But don't they
Because
have
when I
to
was taking my
like,
MCAT, there was a lot of opportunities to cheat, and I was like, bro, it's not even worth it. It's just probably not for me.
but aren't you like constantly under supervision?
You gotta understand when you're going to these big tests, these people have never seen you a day in their lives. That ID can say anything, and it'll be you. You see what I'm saying? They don't know you. They ain't never seen you before.
That's crazy.
It is. It is. But yeah, so but I also think, and that's also another good point. the people out here who are trying to find easy way outs of things are most likely not people who are emotionally intelligent as partners,
Mm.
because they're always used to finding the easy way to get around stuff. So they're gonna lie to you, they're gonna tell you what you want to hear, and then you're not gonna get any of that follow through. And then you're wondering why, like, I don't understand. We talked about it. They said they understood. Bro, they're cheating on every other aspect of their life. You thought they was gonna be faithful to you?
Damn. Not the personal call out. Yes,
I was
yes, I
like, not just
did.
attacking me.
Cause like,
It's true
cause that's
though.
another thing that like I used to do, right? Like I never wanted to be that person who would see someone or like I never wanted to see just the bad in someone, right? Or like see them
Mm-hmm.
for all the faults that they've done. So I think that's also why I used
Mm.
to give people chance after chance after chance. It's like
Girl, same. And we'll get cheated on
I
30 times.
and it's like I just wanted to one, I always see the good in people, but
Mm-hmm.
I like to take people at their word because if I give you my word, then I don't know,
Why
I
don't you give
expect
me
to
your
follow
word and
through
y'all be
it.
trusting each other?
Yeah,
Girl,
like I mean, we don't tell each other things that aren't true, right? Like we're not gonna sit here and I don't know.
no,
That's just
you're
me
not gonna
though.
sit there. They're definitely gonna do it.
Yeah. Had to learn that. Oh, there
And I
was
think
one
that's
I
the
didn't
thing.
talk about.
Oh, what?
Um, because remember how we were talking about, creating a safe space, but I might save that for episode 5.
You sure?
Hell, if I can remember. Because I mean, I guess it kind of goes along with this too, but I also don't want us to go over time. I don't know where we are on time right now because I don't have the counter on my,
Me neither.
oh, it doesn't show you either?
Mm-mm.
What the?
So
Okay
do you want to
then.
say you want to get into it?
Um, I guess I can shorten it, right?
Okay.
When we were talking about safe space, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was this person who, remember I told you, right? Whenever I was hurt or angry or sad or anything like that, like I used to just shut down. I wanted to be
Mm-hmm.
alone. I didn't like talking, and especially to that person that hurt me. So,
Mm-hmm.
Danger. I think that's the name we gave them last time,
Yeah,
right?
danger.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Danger. Would tell me things like, listen, when you start feeling like that, like talk to me. We can work on this together. Like I want to be here for you, all
Mm-hmm.
these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was, trying to work on it and I was starting to get better and stuff like that. Um, and so where it would be like I used to go like a week and then I talk to them. Um, it then became
That's a long
like,
time, Donna.
yeah, now you see the growth. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was like when I tell you I legit did not talk about my issues before. And if I
Mm-hmm.
did, it was a long time before I talked about my issues. And even then, that was growth because there were times where I used to like let things build up and then I'd explode. Like it's been a work in progress and
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud of where I am now. Um, but I um I remember like getting to a point to where I could then start expressing myself immediately. Um and I, told this person, like something, just made me feel insecure. Let's say that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And insecurity is one of those things that like it's hard for me to talk about. because I never wanted to be seen as like imperfect or like I didn't trust my partner, things like that, right? Now, although this person had
Mm,
given me
mm.
plenty of times or plenty of examples in the past that they were not trustworthy, I
Oh,
still,
not to trust that one.
yeah,
Yeah.
I still did not want to like give off that impression, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I was feeling a bit insecure. Um, and I told them, I was like, hey, this is how this makes me feel. Um, and I want to talk about this. I can't talk about it right now, but I do want to talk about this eventually, and we'll move from there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so when I got off the phone with them, I felt good. And at this time, we weren't living in the same city.
Mm-hmm.
They had moved to a different city for school.
Okay.
And so I was like, uh, and I had just gotten out of class. So I was, heading home, and I remember getting off the bus and like the sun was shining on my face, and I was like, huh, that actually felt good. Like I feel a little better. Like I'm not as angry as I was before, or not angry, but I wasn't as hurt as I was or feeling as insecure. And they, did reassure me that everything was okay. And,
Like all is well.
right.
Yeah.
On our 2-year anniversary, I go down. Because prior to
Mm.
that, I had been asking this person, hey, have you tried to anybody else? Are you feeling anybody else? Do you want to be with somebody else? Do you have feelings for somebody else? Like, do you like somebody else? Like the number
What
of
made you ask this
fucking
person that?
ways, because they were pulling away. I felt it. Like, when you can feel things
Mm-hmm.
are different in your relationship, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, and I asked as many ways as you can ask somebody, do you no longer want to be with
Mm-hmm.
me? And do you want to pursue someone else? I even asked, do you want to pursue this person? Right? Like it was very
Oh,
clear.
so you knew the person?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And um uh I kept getting the answer no. I kept getting the answer
Mm-hmm.
no. I kept getting the reassuring of I love you, yada yada, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um I had to go, oh, your phone fell.
It did. I'm listening. I'm back. It was loud and everything. Go ahead.
Um, I went down for our 2-year anniversary, and things just didn't feel right to me. Uh, it felt in what is typically a pretty, I guess, sunny place. It just felt cold.
Mm,
Like the entire environment, that entire week, it felt cold. Like I can't put my finger on it still, but it was dark. It was cloudy. It was cold. And it wasn't cold in the sense of like it was cold weather. It felt cold like spiritually.
emotionally. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Um and it was just like I don't know, like I just needed a warm hug in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And
Did you express that to that person?
no, I just
Why
couldn't figure
not?
out what was going on
Mm,
because something told me that something wasn't right with this person. And even hugging this person just didn't feel right. So
mm,
I did a thing. I'm not proud of a thing, but I did a thing,
okay. What's the
and
thing?
I went through their phone. And I went through the messages with a person that I suspected, who I had, informed them that it made me insecure about at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And things seemed okay there. And I went through messages with the friend one of the best friends, and
Mm-hmm.
it just I hate when people do this because breaks in your conversation automatically that tells someone you're hiding something. Like it just means that you deleted something.
Oh, okay, okay. So they
And so,
expected you to go through their phone.
right. And so I was like, okay, cool. Um, and what hurt the most is this was a person that called themselves my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But were they dangerous friend first?
they were. So I met them through they met
Mm-hmm.
in school. And I don't know what type of friend is sending like there's just certain messages you don't send.
Mm-hmm.
And you in a corset and panties is one of them. Yeah. And I was like, because and the only way I saw that, because it wasn't in uh their original messages. It was
Mm-hmm.
sent to the best friend. And I'm like, the only way you could get that picture
As if it was
is
sent to
if
you
she
first.
sent to you. Exactly. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, bet.
And they forgot to
So,
delete that one.
mm-hmm. And so I was like, wow, this is a eye opener. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I then go back a little further. And remember I told you that I ended up expressing um my insecurities to this person one day, and I was like, oh, I felt really good because I opened up to this person, right when I
Mm-hmm.
started feeling it, and like, things they were reassuring me and stuff like that. As soon as I got off the phone, they went and started talking shit about me to their friend.
That happened to me in my marriage because so I have a hysterectomy, and whenever they left one ovary, and whenever that ovary started going out, I started growing facial hair really aggressively
Mm-hmm.
and getting acne because of the hormone changes. And that's a normal thing that happens. And I remember telling my former spouse, like, I'm very insecure about this. I'm going to go to my doctor, get it taken care of. And they just thought it was hilarious. And so when on date nights, we used to do no technology. So no phones on date nights. We're just date night. We used to do date night 2 to 3 times a week. We were very healthy when it came to that. And we were in a movie and they're texting in a movie. And I'm like, we've been together for 12 and a half years. We don't do that. What are you doing? And I look over at the message, and the message is him talking to one of his friends. And he says, ha ha ha, I'm just like you now. I've been talking about my girl's like facial hair. And I was like, this is this is what you've been like the one thing, because I'm very confident in my body. But the one thing I told you I wasn't confident in, this is what you're doing.
Right.
And I remember going to his therapist, and I was like, this is bullying. And he's like, no, it's not. And we went to his therapist, and she was like, this is textbook bullying. He was like, but she was never supposed to see it. And the therapist is like, that
Doesn't
doesn't
mean
mean it's
it's not
not
bullying.
bullying. And it was like I said, there's the emotional safety and emotional like intelligence. Everyone doesn't have it.
No,
Everyone does
no.
not have that.
Mm-mm. And I was like, I just remember like my heart sinking, like
Mm-hmm.
just completely sinking into my ass, basically, because the person that I loved and thought I could trust, who told me that they loved me and that to
Mm-hmm.
trust them and we can work on these things together. And that, they wanted, and it's not like we hadn't been communicating to like communicate more basically. Like
Mhm.
this has always been something that we've talked about. And the moment I do it, like you know how hard it is for me, how
Mhm.
difficult this is for me. And for you to be like, "Oh yeah,
Ha
I'm going
ha
to use
ha.
this opportunity right."
Mhm.
And it also just completely disrespected the other boundary that I had with him and telling them like, "Listen, when it comes to our issues in our relationship, keep folks out of it."
That part.
Like
That part. It took me a
I
lot to tell you. Now you telling other people.
right. And it's like, now I'll never trust you again.
Mhm.
I will never trust you again. So I just got better at hiding my emotions. Well, I thought, because apparently I'm not good at hiding them. So
No, Donna, you're not. You're not. But the fact that you even felt like you had to, that's the problem.
exactly. And
That's the problem.
I was like, I don't want to do this shit anymore. And I remember the morning that I was getting ready to leave, this person and I sat in the car and I was like, I'm just ready to go home. Like, I don't even want to be here anymore. Because I remember sitting and crying all night. I
Mm.
just cried all
Did they
night.
see you crying? Did they know you were crying?
Yeah.
Mm.
Because I didn't even want to be in the bed. I legit went to sleep on the couch, which they didn't want me sleeping on the couch for whatever reason. I'm like, you don't even care about me enough to respect my boundaries. And
But now you're worried about you sleeping on the couch.
right. And I just remember them sitting in the car crying and being like, I feel like I'm gonna lose you. And I was like, the fucking weak-hearted bitch I am. I was like, no, you're not gonna lose me. Don't worry, I'm still here. Only to
Mm.
then, a few months later, lose this person to the very fucking bitch that called themselves my sister. And I was like,
Interesting.
yeah.
So when it comes to a relation, I don't know if you have the answer. When it
Mhm.
comes to a relationship that the expectations of emotional intelligence haven't been thoroughly discussed, what do you think are the steps to start having that conversation before it's too late?
I mean, ideally, the steps would be to have that conversation initially. However, if it has not been had, the moment you start feeling like things are not going the way that you would hope or the way you want them to, have that
Mm-hmm.
conversation. And it doesn't matter how many times you need to bring up, certain things or how many times or like how often you have to readjust that, right? So like let's
Mm-hmm.
say if you're having again a conversation with a person and you're like, "Hey, I don't want you talking to other people about our business." And
Mm-hmm.
excuse me, that came up because someone was talking to a random person, right? And then the next time you catch them, this person is talking to their friends and you're like, "Hey, I know I said I don't want you talking to people about our business. That includes friends. When it comes to our
Mm-hmm.
relationship, keep it between us. If you need to talk to somebody,
Mm-hmm.
go to a therapist, go to a counselor, go to an advisor, or come to me. Or write it in a journal. That's fine as
Mm-hmm.
well. And keep it
And then
between
don't show
us.
nobody the journal. Be like, well, I didn't say it. I wrote it. They read the journal. Like,
Right. Like I should not be able to go to your friends and they can tell me things about our relationship, right? And then like
mm-hmm.
later, uh something else happens. Let's say this person they do write something in the journal and they're upset, right, for a number of times. And then you're like, hey, listen, if this is something that, you can't get over within a certain amount of time, like what are the steps that we can take to make sure that this doesn't affect our relationship, right? Because like
I love that.
being mad about something for a week is not healthy. It's just not healthy. I don't care what it is, that is not healthy. You should not be
Mhm.
mad at something or someone for a week. That there are 7 days in a week, or 5 to 7 days, depending on who you're talking to, right? A work week,
If it's a business
school
week or
week,
regular week.
right? So 5 to 7 days to be upset about this one thing, mind you, multiple
Hmm.
things happen in life. So you just adding on top of whatever it is.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, just being willing to constantly like reestablish those I guess that baseline or foundation of like what you expect within your relationship, setting those boundaries. What are your standards? Um, the things that you recognize you both or you all need to work on.
Hmm.
Recognizing uh what it is that, some things that you might let slide. Because let's be honest, we let things slide.
We do.
um Now, how often
We
you let them
do.
slide, that's also another thing, right? And then what are your hard no's, um, the hard limits? Uh,
Things you just will not accept in a relationship. And that's when
correct.
you know it's your time to go. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's either shape up or ship out.
Hmm.
Easy, as simple as that. Um, but yeah, I'm also to a point where now, like, uh, I will these conversations will definitely be had like in the beginning. And I was also telling my therapist that I need to I'm trying to work on saying things without sounding like a bitch. Like I want to
Mm.
say them um and be firm in them,
Hmm.
but like
But not rude in them.
right,
Hmm.
because no matter what it is, it's not changing. Like, and if you consider me a bitch for that, that's fine. But it's not changing
Like
because
I'll wear the title. It's cool.
and like I have, I've compromised enough. You
Hmm.
know, I have, um, I have, I've just, I've been nice and weak for too long. Um, and I'm ready to get to the point of where I know for a fact this person wants to be with me because they want to be with me and not for what they can get away with.
And they want to, they know how to express that. They know how to
Mm-hmm.
work through conflict. They know how to navigate. So one of the things I talked to my current partner about, I asked him, I said, do you know how to navigate negative emotions? And he said, yes. And I said, well, what is your process? And then he said, oh, I just look on the bright side. I said, that's not a process. That's a denial. I said, here's what a process looks like. And then I said, confront the negative emotions, figure out where they stem from, why they're happening, figure out if they are valid, work through them, and if necessary, talk to the other people involved, right? And then go ahead and set up a plan for how you move forward outside of this one time, because a lot of times those negative emotions will still be attached to this thing, right? But now you have a plan to move forward, work through it, and how to get over it. So because you're just saying, oh, look at the bright side, that's that toxic positivity that doesn't actually get us anywhere,
Mm-hmm.
right? How are we actually moving through it? And so I think that's a very important question to ask and to have a plan for, because no matter how happy and how great your life is, negative emotions, negative interactions will happen. How are we going to move through it? What is our
Right.
next move? Like, you know what I mean? Like, where do we go? And for me, that's something that's important. So one of the things I believe in, which I've done in all of my relationships, but it also takes your partner being super honest, but check-ins at least monthly to see
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, Where are we at? How are you feeling in this? Is there anything that needs improvement? Is there any aspects of our relationship where you feel like you're not being seen or heard?
Mhm.
So like those check-ins are crucial, but everyone has to be honest during those check-ins.
Mhm.
Also creating goals. What are our goals together? Because emotionally, in order to navigate goals, you're gonna have to be in the right headspace. So if something's wrong, you're gonna be able to tell me, like, look, I know we got to do this as a goal, but honestly, my head's not in it. This is what's going on in my other parts of my life that's kind of distracting me. So like just all of these different things to check in, but to make it so that it's a common occurrence and this doesn't feel like I'm just only checking in when something's wrong. I'm checking in all the time. I want this to be normalized between us. So all right, we've actually been talking for like 2 hours, Donna. So let's go ahead and do our creative meditation. I've done a whole face, so it takes an hour to do a face. That's how I know we've been talking for at least an hour. But it's been like 2 hours now to look at the clock. So let's go ahead and do our creative meditation. But I like this conversation. I liked looking at how we got from our past to some of the obstacles we face in our relationships. So after this conversation, what goal are you going to set going forward in future romantic relationships when it comes to communication?
Um, well, because I always communicate, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I will say that. Like I always, especially in the beginning, like tell people what I want, how I am,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. So I've always been upfront about that. I think where I needed the work and where I am better at now is standing firm in that.
Mm-hmm.
And calling people out on their bullshit. Um, Before I used to, because I didn't want to upset anyone, or like I used to be like, oh, maybe it's just like a one-off occurrence. I didn't like say it too often, or like I would just be like, oh, like if it happens again, then let me say something. Or like I'd wait until like I got irritated with it, I guess, and then be
Mm-hmm.
like, look, this is something you do and I don't like it. Can we work on this? Like, can we fix this? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then people would try and, be like, well, why didn't you say anything before? And I was like, you're right. I definitely should have said something before.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'd be like, well, I did say something before. Here's the message of when I said this, and here is your
Mm-hmm.
response of this. Like, what receipt queen, but
Oh,
I am,
same.
I
I love.
am
I always got a receipt.
like, quit playing with me. But I am definitely better now about calling it out like immediately when it happens. Like the moment it makes me feel a certain type of way, absolutely not. I'm not gonna be the only one dealing with this emotion. Here you go.
Mm-hmm.
How it makes you feel when I say what I say, that's on you to deal with. No, I'm not gonna say it rudely. I
Mm-hmm.
assure you. However, I will let you know where you're picking up. And we'll have to move from there. But
Mm-hmm.
that and then giving myself grace. Um
Mm-hmm.
Everything that I used to give someone else, giving that to me first.
I
Um
love that.
because I didn't do that in the beginning
Mm-hmm.
and I deserve that. I am worthy of that.
You
And
are.
if I'm not getting it first, no one else is getting it. Um
Mm.
and
I like that.
so until Donna is okay, until Donna is situated, until we are good. I don't have any room for compassion or understanding for others until like again,
And
I
that's not selfish at all.
no. And I
That's
know there are
definitely
people who
self-care.
are gonna
Yeah.
be like, oh, you can go through your stuff and you can heal and still give other people compassion. You can. but I
Not
am not in a
authentically.
space right now. Right. Like I
Hmm.
am not in a space to do that right now. And so, which is
Hmm.
also why I chose like not to date right now. But I yeah, I just if it ever came down to like dating again, um, depending on where I am, I will definitely let folks know, hey, this is where I am emotionally. Is this something you can deal with? Yeah,
I think for
nothing.
me, like, so setting the intention moving forward, I try to have the conversations, like do all the things, have all the conversations, ask all the important questions. I think that's something that you and I talked about already. One of the things that I do is I put myself out there very transparently, and I feel like I'm using I statement. I feel like
I,
a lot of
I, I.
times, right? A lot of times I may get a partner who likes the idea of what I bring to the table and who I am as a person. And so they will compromise on who they are. And so emotional intelligence for me looks like pushing through autism and understanding when a person is actually authentically telling the truth that this is who they are
Mhm,
versus them just pretending to be this person because the way I navigate life seems cool. You know what I mean? Like, oh, she's
mhm,
not traditional. She's polyamorous. Like all of these things where it's like this will be an adventure. Yeah, but I told you this is how I live as a person. Can you actually handle that? Or is this going to be something that's going to be a problem we're going to be discussing consistently throughout our dynamic? Is what I want, what you want. I travel all around the world. Are you okay with that? And still having, you know what I mean? So, like, understanding that when it comes to emotional needs, I need to make sure that my partner and I are on the same page and that they do feel like they have that, that comfort of saying, like, you a cool chick, but what you provide or the way you navigate your life doesn't work with me, and
mhm.
allowing that to be okay. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I think for me, emotional intelligence looks like literally being able to hopefully realize when someone is trying to make a square peg fit into a circle. You know.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Also,
Donna, what you got a smirk on your face for?
none. I was just admiring my beauty. But your um why your makeup make you look Asian today? You look
Girl,
like a
because I got
whole
small
Asian
eyes.
woman. You look like a whole
I just got
Asian.
small eyes, Donna. My
You
face
look
always
like
looks like this. You're my face always looks like this, Donna. I always look Asian.
okay, maybe it just look different on camera because I swear in person it does not look like this. You look like a
Donna, all of
whole
our
Asian.
pictures, I look Asian. All the pictures
Nani.
me you took before I left, I look Asian. All of these my eyes, it's an eye thing. And I got these big old cheeks.
No, no, you look like a whole Asian woman right now.
It's okay. I'll be
Like
blazing
you
for
a
the day. It's
black
cool.
Asian.
Well, my sisters are Black Asian, so maybe
But see, they're
we'll go there.
biracial. I mean, you straight up look like a black Asian.
I don't know what to do with this information.
I
Okay,
was
I
just
didn't
sitting
do
here
anything weird.
watching
I didn't.
you.
You've seen this makeup look a million times. It's just different colors. So I did nothing different than I normally do it. This is just my face, Donna.
Oh no, because like I was just sitting here and I'm like, why is this Asian woman on my screen?
She is possessed by an Asian woman. I should have known when she went to Asia things were gonna happen. Oh
Right?
my
Because
gosh.
like
Okay. So I like the conversation we had. You know, I ain't gonna lie. It felt like therapy to me because like I was like going through some healing moments where I'm like, girl, like young Danielle, let me sit you down. Let me tell
Mm,
you what happened. Like that was definitely the
mm.
energy. So we're gonna take about 30 minutes because we did talk for a little longer. So we're gonna do 30 minutes of our creative meditation for today. I'm going to do some writing. I'm in the process of trying to find a literary agent for my work. And so I am writing query letters for my speculative fiction. So I'm going to take this time to work towards that goal. We forgot to tell you in the beginning to go ahead and get out your paper and pencil that we will be using it later. If that's what you want to do for your creative meditation, you are more than welcome to work on anything creatively during this time that you want to. We want to make sure that not only do we feed your soul, but we also feed your imagination while we're together. We're going to be doing this at the end of every episode. So this is a great time to body double with us. If you don't know what that is, body doubling is basically whenever you are working alongside someone else who you may not be in the same room with, but y'all are both working and they're kind of helping me stay on task. I know I have ADHD, so this works very well for me. Even with my partner, we body double where they'll be like doing laundry by hand and I will be like washing dishes or stuff like that. And I get a lot done. So this is that time. I've been talking a lot to give you time to get paper and pencil. But
Yes, and
um
also this is you can write music if you want. I don't know if anyone's a composer, you can compose music. You can create sheet music. You can write poetry. You can write in your journal. Write out a grocery list. You can write out a cleaning list. You can work on anything that you can work on with whatever is playing in the background. Typically, we use lo-fi, or as I used to call it, lo-fi. God. uh, the we learn, right? But lo-fi will typically play in the background. Unless I sing, which if you've watched from the beginning or wherever you are currently in our channel, you will see me sing again eventually. Um, and yeah, this is just time to give you a space to like relax. If you want to just sit
Mhm.
and breathe for the next 30 minutes, you can. If you want to sit and take a 30-minute nap, you can. It is whatever you would like to do for the next 30 minutes. Okay?
All right. So Dawn at 43 after we're gonna call it.
All right. 43. Let me share my screen. Let me share my screen. Let me share my screen with sound. Oh, now you're selected, you bastard. Alrighty.
Okay,
That
that
was
did zoom by.
it did. Uh um okay. Goodness. That's it. Um alrighty. Did you get what you needed to do done?
I got some done. I got some done.
Okay.
No complaint. No complaint.
That is good. That is good. Alrighty. And in that case, let's go over here to uh
This is where we preview the next episode.
yes. Oh, this is also I don't know if we did it for the last one. Um
Hmm.
the shout out for uh topics.
I mean, we can't really do that yet.
That's true. That's true. You're so right. You're so right. Well, but I don't think we did. We at least like explain to folks to start
We
doing
did in
it.
the first episode.
Okay, as
Yeah.
long as we did, then.
Yeah.
Well, then,
So
in
for
that
you
case,
want to give a little sneak peek on the next one?
um, yeah, what is it? Ah, yes. All righty. So that well, this will be bringing a close to our third episode. For those who are still with us, thank you. We love your support. Continue to engage in the comments, bring others to engage, please. And for our next topic, because we have started this category, that's not the right word.
Like
Uh,
this theme?
huh?
Like a theme, like this theme?
Yeah, yeah. So the theme of this season is emotional intelligence. And obviously today we did emotional intelligence and romantic relationships. Our next one is going to be emotional intelligence within communities of color. At first, I think we just had it at the Black community, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we just widened it to communities of color because it's something that needs to be talked about. That is not
Yes.
saying that only communities of color lack emotional intelligence or only communities of color have emotional intelligence. It's just our main focus. Our
And also the way communities of color navigate emotional intelligence is historically different.
It
Um,
is.
and so there is a lot of deconstructing of mindsets that has to go into, I would say, communities of color, because for a long time, like even growing up in America, Black families were like, oh, that's a white thing. You know, going to a therapist, that's a white thing. Those are white people problems. And so we have to talk about deconstructing that, and even coming over here as immigrants, what deconstructing looks like, which I've seen a lot teaching. So that's why we're focused on communities of color more than anything for this conversation, because of all of it, all of what it takes just to show up in a space, and then to talk about emotional intelligence when we show up, you know, not only in a space but for ourselves. So yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of our conversations and a lot of our topics are going to be mainly focused on our community and community of colors, right? Or communities of
Yes.
color, right?
Yeah.
Because and it's not to say we don't care about the lack of color. It's we I think we care more about it.
I think it's our focus because number one, it's a major part of our intersection. And then number two, it's because these sort of conversations aren't had in our communities enough. And we
Mm-hmm.
want to make sure that we are helping our own communities when it comes to these conversations and these topics, because, you know, like a lot of people who are considered like Black activists or activists overall, when it comes to your own communities, you want to make sure that whatever you're putting out is helping that community grow. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like for us, that's definitely our focus on helping our community grow and learn together.
And to expand on what you said about the conversations not being had, because again, you know me and always needing to clear things up for the people who act like they can't think for themselves sometimes. Um, we understand that this is a repeated topic. We understand that you can go on the internet and find anybody talking about these topics. However, what you will also find within those are one-sided conversations, that they are
Mhm.
one-sided experiences, that they are one-sided advice And that is not what we do here. We hold all parties involved accountable, including ourselves.
Yes.
And so I think that's what these conversations are missing. And it's not to say that others aren't having these conversations, because uh, love me some Keita Rose.
I knew he was going to
Um,
say that.
listen, you know I love that woman there. Okay,
Hmm.
that's I love that woman. Also Kitty J Rose, who for a long time I don't you do it. Um,
How your
who
camera your ops?
I don't know, but I'm about to just go back to the regular camera because this is irritating me now. Oh, I'm so sorry, sweetie. Um, I um I also for a long time misunderstood Kitty J Rose, and that's because I was watching her videos from other people who were one-sided. And so I
Hmm.
was like, just go to her page. Just go to her page. And yes, she definitely gives advice also as a prior, I think I don't know if she was just couples counseling or if it was marriage counseling. But I know
Hmm.
she is a or was I don't know if you ever lose your certification for it, but she used to work as a couples
A counselor.
therapist. Uh-huh.
Okay.
And I don't know if she still does it or not. But I know that's what she used to do, like for a majority of her time.
Okay.
And I also love me shout outs to Sun Michaud. Love, love, love some Sun. Who else?
We
I'm
out
trying to
here.
think of trying to think of people who like have these conversations that aren't just like blaming one person, right? Like they're actually having these conversations of
I think his
like,
name is FD Signifier. I watch him. He does a really good job. Khadijah and Mobley, I think their last name is. They do a really great job. I watch a few people um that do a
okay,
really
I've
great
heard of
job.
Khadijah, but who was the first one?
Yeah. FD Signifier. It's a guy, also locks.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look that one up because I don't think I've heard of that one.
Yeah, he's
Um,
really good.
who else did I
There's a few people that do really good think pieces, but I've noticed that a lot of times, aside from the two that I just mentioned and the two you mentioned, they tend to sway heavily towards a particular perspective. And so our goal is to use, I mean, Don and I come from, again, I can't stress this enough, completely different backgrounds and so much of our experiences. And I am older and lived a very dynamic and ever changing life. And I'm also in my travel bag to learn and grow more culturally. So that I hope that I'm always bringing you different perspectives, and Donna's going to always bring you different perspectives as well. So our goal is never to make you believe what we believe in. We're just offering as many sides to this as possible. I will never say I'm going to play the devil's advocate here. The devil doesn't need an advocate, never has. So I'm not going to play it.
Devil is his own advocate.
Right. He good. He's an independent man. So, but yeah, so our goal is always to just give you different voices. And when I'm looking at communities of color, I'm looking at it from someone who's experienced communities. Yes, obviously myself, I have a very culturally diverse family as well. And then also being able to be in the classroom and seeing students from literally all over the world and having mental health days and seeing how they show up and the things that they express. And so from there, I'm able to kind of give a different worldview outside of just a Black American woman, you know. So whenever we're having these conversations and I say people of color, I truly mean people of color, not just Black people. So yeah. So we look forward to seeing y'all there. In the meantime, take care. eat right. I mean, drink water, take care of your mental health, and we will see you next time.
One last
Okay.
thing.
Mhm.
We forgot to do the intentions for the day.
Oh, that's what I did, but I set them for the relationships going forward. You want to do it for the day?
Oh, no, no, no. If you already did them, that's cool. That's cool.
We can do it for the day. We can end on that.
Okay. Um, yeah, what are your intentions for today?
I'm about to go. I'm about to go to bed. It's like it's midnight. I have one more meeting after this, and I'm going to bed. So my intention is to get a restful night of sleep, and then start my day bright and early and go see some more of Bali. That's my intention.
Yes. And you gotta send some pictures because you didn't send me no pictures.
Oh yeah, girl. Okay, yeah, I got you. I got you. What's your intention for
Um,
the day?
my intentions for today is to finish up my room. I have 2 boxes left, and then I
Nice.
am done with
Good.
everything else. And then to vacuum out my car because I don't know how, but it's just leaves everywhere in there.
I can
They
believe
just
it.
everywhere in there. And I'm like, oh, where they coming from? I mean, I know where they coming from, but still.
Like
um,
Donna the trees.
and then after that, probably rest. Um, not doing too much, because I'm trying to ease back into my regular sleep schedule because we unfortunately start back work this week. So
No,
yeah, yeah, I'm not ready for it, but I have enjoyed the time off.
good,
Well, I've enjoyed
good,
it, so I am ready to see what this new year brings, honestly. And I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited.
good. And I just want to say that everything that we've said today, we said with our chest, our whole chest, and nothing but our chest.
So
So help
help
us,
me,
ancestors.
ancestors.
On that note, we'll see y'all next time.
Bye.